hadn't thought about it, give me a minute.
Okay.
I can't get up.
You'll become more aware of it as time goes on.
I'm knee deep in thought, I'm making my.
Okay.
Hendricks County. Looks like our population's way down this morning. So it's time to start our meeting. If you'll join us in a pledge of allegiance. Mr. Cox, would you do that honor?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on our agenda is the minutes from the January 21st meeting.
Move to approve.
I got one change. That very first page, bottom, under council appointments there, it's got seconded by Larry Cox. I think that was Hessen that did that.
Would you agree that your last name is Hessen?
I'll use that.
Move to approve with that change made.
Okay, is there a second?
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Signify nay. 6-0. With one absent, Mr. Wyatt.
Sorry,
David.
we were making the change before.
David Cox seconded.
Yeah. Are anyone in the audience wish to comment on anything? Terrific. We'll move right along then. On old business, I don't believe we have any. Is that right? Although we need to approve, let's see. No. I did want to make one comment about our last meeting where we were talking about the let's see. Oh, and the matter of the 2025 council's calendar. The first sentence on that was where I had commented that it was difficult for council members to contact people or entities with questions on items that would be on the agenda. And this is to read through those documents. Well, that's not a problem, I don't think, for us to read through it. It's a matter of the comments, so if that could be reworded.
Okay.
Thank you. On new business, county match fund determination for Sycamore Services. Any?
And do you normally take that out of food and beverage or edit?
Okay. This is a long and complicated story.
Either edit or food and beverage.
This is for the link, and when Indigo
Yeah, Indigo.
got involved, a county match became required. So I don't think any of us were really embracing that idea. I think we kind of knew it, but yet didn't. And then they paid the match the first year or two out of ARPA, the state's ARPA funds. So then for a year or so, we did not pay because we did not know where to pay from. I learned this toward the end of the year. Is Todd here?
He's in his
Oh,
office.
okay. Todd mainly has been the communicator with them. I've never talked to them, and he's worked with Paula about it. He doesn't. None of us like this Indigo function. They just brought us into doing it.
Yeah, the funds got changed because it's the formula between the urban and
Urban and
rural.
non-urban, yeah.
And we got put into the urbans, that made us part of that, so it's,
And we don't even have a city, and we got put in the urban.
yeah.
So,
This is where the busing thing for people to work in the Plainfield area there in the warehouses.
No, this is for our people.
Or
The-
senior service?
doctor's
service, yeah,
appointments
doctor's
and
appointments and all that.
things like
that's
that.
Okay.
But I think Indigo gets that match for,
And the reason why because I mean, they were saying that too much of the money was going to, calling us rural was not correct, and we were getting too much of the money, so that's why we got put into the MPO, the
so,
bigger part of it, so that's why our match is more now.
we did not have any match before.
That's why we have a match now.
Yeah, we had a zero match. So the match is
Half of the grant.
It's 50%.
50%, and the grant award for 2025 is $375,928, so the county has that half match. In discovering this, we're asking for a little bit more because we needed to do county matches in the past, and I had to wait to see where we were actually gonna get reimbursed, to see where the fund was at, and it actually was in negative, because we didn't wanna overmatch the county's portion until we were cleared with the reimbursing. And so that added the extra 37,000, or the 85,172. So that gets us completely current, and it also gives us our 2025 match.
So if we make a decision right now where it comes from, this will be on our agenda next month for an additional. I say we paid out of food and beverage. I mean, it's,
And Todd just entered the room, so he may wanna, we're talking about Indigo and
County match.
And the what?
The county's
County match,
match, and where do
yeah.
we want to take it from?
I said none of us like this from
No.
day one. They're extremely difficult to work with, extremely. And it's so time consuming, and then we have to pay now, so.
Do we have any choice on this, or would we lose service, or?
Unless the service is done away with, we're not gonna get a town to take it over. I mean, it's too complicated for them. And it requires a ton of time for the auditor's office.
And the only real option would be to pay for it fully by the county. And so it'd be twice the amount that you're looking at your match to be.
Can't lose the service because it's
Correct.
so well intentioned.
So this is for Link?
Senior services, yeah, I mean, they pretty much gave us the option, either accept what we're gonna do here and pay half, or if it's all yours, you pay it all. So, I mean, what do you do?
I think this is called the Hobson's choice.
They
Yeah,
changed the funding mechanism. It used to all be rural funding, and it came through PennDOT, and it was relatively simple. And then they decided that part of the funding is urban, even though it does not meet the definition for urban. And there is no suburban definition. And so as a result, then that changed the rules, and it made it much more difficult and much more complex. And I know it's been a pain for the auditor's office, and I've talked to Nancy about that in the past.
What's the cost of it?
Yes,
Yeah, and we're not the only county that's experienced this.
that's correct.
I don't know if they did the same to Johnson, probably, and maybe,
I know they did the same to Hamilton.
yeah, but they are bigger.
Yeah.
And I don't know, was the MPO involved in drawing the lines?
no, I don't think they were. It was more just this, NDOT said, here's your new lines, deal with it, is how it kind of went.
So it was a state decision.
yeah.
It's, I mean, think about it, they just saved NDOT, or they get whatever, $375,000 a year now they're not paying.
Yeah, urban funding is normally limited to population centers of 50,000 or more, which we don't have. And then they looked at trip data, and they looked at the data showing the amount of trips that was made to Indianapolis, and then used that to try to justify that part of our funding should be urban as opposed to rural. And the grant process is a pain, the compliance process is a pain. But you're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard spot, because I think the service is a necessity.
Yeah, I agree, the service is very good, it's very needed. The rock in the hard place is either a half or whole.
On a good note, I actually, after 4.5 years of working with this, I think I totally really understand both aspects of Indigo and NDOT, and how the paperwork is needed and what they need for reimbursement for both of those grants, because we run both of these grants with Sycamore Services and Senior Services.
During my years, we struggled
Yeah.
a lot, so.
Yeah, it's been a learning
It's
curve.
just- They want us to sit in constant webinars and meetings and discussions and follow the old federal law.
So this will be a yearly bill for us now.
Correct.
And it's roughly 1 month of food and beverage, give or take $50.
Will that dollar amount go up?
Well, it's gone up about $30,000 from last year, in the award amount.
So this at 8 or 9% right now, it could become 10 quickly then of our food and beverage. Eric, your comment about food and beverage, you want to make that a motion?
I make a motion that we put this on the agenda next month to come out of food and beverage.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
Yeah, I guess I'm reluctant to take that out of food and beverage unless there's an understanding that it's not always gonna come out of that fund. You know, we, from the very beginning, of food and beverage, the idea was to keep those funds available for, I guess, single-use projects and expenses that came up on a one-off basis, rather than committing those funds to be used regularly for an expense. So I guess,
All right, I withdraw my motion. Let's take it out of general. We've got $45 million
And then-
$47 million that's
We can make that decision every year, where you're gonna pull it.
What needs to be budgeted at budget time. So would need a decision by then, so general seems logical to me.
I make a motion, we pull it out of general for the additional appropriations.
Is there a second?
You wanna change your second? Yeah.
Oh, I agree, change.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. 6-0. Passes. Supplies.
was this advertised?
Not yet, we wanted to have the discussion, and so then we'll submit the additional request for next meeting and then get it advertised.
Okay.
There is a correction on your additional appropriations to number 7. So if you approve it, there'll be an additional 99,000 next month that we'll approve. Because the amount was 1.799, and I only advertised for 1.7 million.
And that's probably my fault, because I sent, these are ARPA, for the final things that the commissioners approved at their November meeting, I believe, for a new roof. This is for, the $17.99 is for, oh, they switch at the 911 at Hendricks County Communications. So $1,799,000.
Okay. At this time, I'll open up for the public hearing for the additionals. Anyone care to comment? If not, I'll close the public hearing. Is there a motion concerning the additionals?
So if I have this right, we're really gonna approve the 1.7, and you're gonna bring the 99 to us.
Yeah.
Next month, yeah.
I make motion approved 1 through 7.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
I just had a question with respect to the to number 1, and probably my memory, but did we take official action to make that a full-time position?
For the coroner.
That's been a full-time position for the last 3
Yeah,
years.
Or it has been.
It is a full-time position.
Okay, so we're just moving
A
a
part-timer.
part-time employee to a full-time, okay, got it.
Okay, we're good.
Is that part-timer gonna be replaced, or is that gonna be extra?
Chris is retiring April the 11th, so the part-time person in our office wants to move to the full-time spot to take over the administration of the office.
So you're gonna have another part-timer at that spot? So you actually have some extra money then?
So, I'm sorry,
So you'll have some extra money?
probably yes. It
Yeah,
all
okay.
depends on if Chris uses any PTO between now and April the 11th,
Yeah.
so.
Further discussion? So we have a motion and a second. All those in, oops,
Sorry, I might need to explain one more thing. On ARPA, facilities requested the commissioners to do this roof for $990,000 and the piping to feed the boiler or whatever it is at the courthouse. It's in really poor condition. And it totaled 1,990,000, I believe. And, well, we got everything obligated, but part of that's going to need to be paid out of the interest. So line 4 is from the interest, and line 5 is from the grant, the ARPA grant. You'll remember, we had to get that all obligated by December 31st of '24.
So 4 and 5 would take care of all.
Those two projects.
Of all of that.
Goes one now.
Any more discussion? All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. 6-0.
Just a comment, we show the amount requested, but it already shows the amount approved, and we may or may not approve the amount that's requested, so
You just need to zero those out.
Next item is transfers. We have 2, and they both concern the prosecutor's office.
I have a question. Are they both concerned vehicles? Is that our issue or is that commissioner?
They've been the commissioners. I
It
believe.
was approved last week.
The commissioners approved the vehicles. They're just asking us for the money.
He has the money, but he needs to transfer it. This has been going on for a few months, so sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but we needed to get it moved to a 400 line or 4,000 line because of gap. Because vehicles are obviously a capital item. So a 3,000 is other services and charges. So he didn't quite understand why we needed to transfer it, but
Yeah.
I just said, it needs to be transferred.
is this going to be a $59,000 vehicle?
Two vehicles.
Pardon?
Two vehicles, one
Two
30 and one
vehicles,
29.
okay.
He tried to find used vehicles from the sheriff's department or wherever. So, and no, he did not say it was new vehicles. He just needed they just need the vehicles for this.
So the decision was for those to be purchased rather than on the lease operation?
Yeah, he didn't want them to be obvious.
Oh,
No.
gotcha.
Some undercover stuff.
Got it, okay. Is there a motion?
It was a Tesla.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve, is there a second? Chuck? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, passes 6-0, excuse me. On other business, the annual report for the work release, discussion on county match.
I'm not sure if, this is awkward because I keep leading in discussion, but from past history, the grant definitely doesn't cover our budget and the project income is not enough either. So it needs supplemented somehow. We did give them an ARPA grant for $1 million that they have used.
That they've used. Was that, did we use, or was some of that to be used for the modular, but,
The ARPA grant?
yeah,
No.
no,
Could we use our 0.2% or whatever our public safety,
Correctional, or,
that 20% of that we have towards operations for this?
I don't think you, well,
It's,
yeah, probably, but we reduced it, so we'd have to figure it. We reduced the rate, so the 20% is less. I don't remember what that came up
I don't
with.
remember if we're using all that for stuff at the jail or not.
We weren't on the 20, but with it reduced, we may be.
So that's, if we could use, I mean, to me, that makes the most sense to use that public safety tax if we can. Yeah.
Look into it.
And even if that fund has a balance in it, maybe we could use it till it runs out, we get our balance down to whatever.
So we'll need to address that at our next meeting.
I don't, she need money right now?
So, how it's trending, she currently, what she's earning in project income, we're in the negative about $2,000 to $3,000 at the beginning of the month until she submits her project income monthly collections. So she's really running close to around about $3,000 in cash. She has several things that she has budgeted for the 1122, which is project income, that she also has to do with the grant. So we're trying to pay everything right now through the grant and nothing through county or project income 1122 except for payroll. So we've got some time, but I just know it's not going to, the grant will get her through until about July or August. And then after that, all of the income, every expense will have to come out of someplace else.
So we can address this at our next meeting.
We can address this for sure at the next meeting.
We
We
have more
can,
information then and a decision.
I can tell you under public safety, it does list confinement supervision services under Community Corrections Program as defined in Indiana Code 3538 2.62 or other correctional services for a person. And it goes into this. So I think I'll dig into that a little bit deeper, but it looks like it's possible.
and I do know that the sheriff's office is using some of that for meals and things of that nature.
Meals and medical are now coming out of that 20%. Meals and medical.
Meals and medical both, yes.
So it's a significant amount, but it's not up to the 20%, but that's, like, we changed that, so.
Well, I'll throw this out, I think I've thrown it out before. That last page, the org chart, pretty highlights it. During the daytime, the work-release building has plenty of people, plenty of supervisors if something happens. Second and third shift, when the sergeant is on his days off, the only person you have in charge is an officer. Now, I just don't think that's right. And they don't have corporal positions. And I don't know if this is something that the commissioners should take a hard look at or bring to us or what. She's not bringing it to us. I just think that's wrong, that building has no supervisor on second and third shift. That you're expecting an officer who's not being paid extra to be the supervisor. So, somebody needs to look at that and come to a decision on having either corporals on second and third shift or another sergeant that is gonna be there when the sergeant's gone. So they have a supervisor in the building that's gonna be, stuff's gonna be falling on them.
So perhaps we should get back on that with the commissioners on that perhaps.
We can.
We could discuss it or thanks for pointing that out. Next is our status of
I
funds.
just wanted to add that we had a JRAC meeting last week, and Bridget said the modular unit is just about complete, and once it's done, we'll be invited to it's small, but I guess tour it, see what it is, how it's supposed to operate.
It'll be interesting to see how.
I'm sorry?
It'll be interesting to see how that has shaped up
Right,
on the modular.
right.
So, next item is our status of funds. Which looks like,
Yeah, I'm not sure what she usually talks about, but I updated it to this year's budget order and everything is how it should be going forward. It's still early on in the year, so we have a lot.
Just bottom line, January is the highest it's ever been since it's been enacted.
yes, Fortunately, we're in very good shape, that's for sure.
I do think food and beverage may go down, because when I'm eating out now, it's not busy like it once was. People
Yeah.
were still eating out for a while, a lot. But of
I-
course, prices have doubled, so that
Uh,
might reflect on the tax.
Yeah, it's resistance to the price increases, I'm sure, so.
They about 6 more restaurants coming in.
Boy, wow. Is there anyone in the audience who has a comment to make, anything? This is really quiet February here, it must be 5 degrees outside, so small attendance here. Mr. Cox?
The YAP program, the new section that's opened up in Avon is impressive. It hit the floor running, mainly because the person overseeing it for YAP came from Plainfield Group over here running. So there was no lag time. I mean, it hit the floor running and they're already doing good stuff. I'm impressed with it. So the YAP is now in 2 places, which is Plainfield and Avon, and they're in discussions, I believe, with Danville, and the 5th one, the Troy West.
Northwest Hendricks.
Yeah,
Northwest Hendricks.
those two. Brownsburg is still not really too interested yet, but that's running pretty good. Senior services, again, we just solved that issue, so it's running right there.
What I know of the YAP program, it sure does seem like it's helping some of our youth.
It's so hard to put a dollar amount to saving his life. I mean,
Yeah.
I know you can't overspend too much money on these things, but they have so many good examples of kids that they've saved and stuff they've been able to do that I'm keeping an eye on it, but it appears to be worth the money right
Oh,
now.
good. We appreciate you keeping an eye on that, for sure. Ms. Marsh?
I, as well as Chuck, attended the Hendricks County Recycle meeting. I knew quite a bit about the program anyway, but it's a good program. And we left a flyer for everybody in their mailbox, I believe. They left a flyer.
Thank you. Anything else?
Just legislation, but somebody else may want to speak on that. It's
I thought
crazy,
I'd say-
craziness out there.
I thought I'd save that to our attorney. Mr. Wathen?
I want to talk about that a little bit. So I went to the, what do you call it, the breakfast for everybody come by to us at the
Legislative breakfast.
Legislative breakfast, yeah.
And what's frustrating is Jeff Thompson stood up and said, we're doing this because we want people to feel their taxes go up and down when the counties or locals change their property tax rates, their tax rates. So right now, because of the property taxes, you can raise it or lower it. And then, I mean, they're placing the blame on this on us when we're just using the rules that they created. And we're following their rules to do assessments, we're following their rules to do our taxes. And what the truth comes down to is there's no incentive for any of us to adjust our tax rates, because if we lower ours, everybody else gets a little bit. If we raise ours, everybody gets a little bit less.
Yeah.
And they're putting the blame on us for a problem that they created. And I'm sure whatever solution they come up with, we'll have another issue. How long ago did we pass that constitutional amendment? When was it?
Oh, gosh.
4,
Yeah.
So it took
4 years before.
It took
No, it's been probably 10 years.
Oh, has it been that?
Yeah.
long?
14 years
Yeah,
ago, and
yeah.
now we're seeing the problems with it. I'm sure whatever they do, we'll see the problems in another 7 to 8 years, and it'll be our fault again, even though they're the ones doing it. So it's frustrating, and I hate property taxes because you're being taxed on unrealized gains, and to me, that's theft. But it's the system we have right now, and we're only playing the cards that they dealt us, so that's my take.
The original governor's bill was really bad, so it did get toned down a little bit.
It's still bad,
It's still bad, but it's,
not as bad as it was, yeah,
I think we can weather that plan,
yeah.
but.
And, you know, I don't know that there's a good solution. What would be good for Hendricks County? And we can count on a considerable portion of our disposable or revenue coming from income taxes. But we have, best example I can think of is Kosciuszko County. They have a lot of lakes up there that have vacation homes. The folks who own those homes don't pay income taxes to Kosciuszko County. So they rely on their property taxes. So what would be good for us would be disastrous for them. So just,
Probably half of the 92 counties or more are very dependent on their property
Yep.
taxes. And so they're gonna be in really big trouble. And we're gonna take a hit, there's no question about that. But yes, I mean, for the state, county government's an extension of the state, and I don't understand, it's like we're the whipping boy kind of thing, so.
and personal property tax is another big feature. It would hurt us because of the steel mill, the revenue we get from the steel mill from business personal property taxes, but we would survive. But there are other counties, like Spencer County, has a very large facility down there. They do away with business personal property tax. I'm guessing that county's gonna be going bankrupt.
Where are the positive things? Anything else, Larry?
No, nothing, John.
I don't really have anything. I know that Nancy already addressed the solid waste. I did speak with Senator Clark and Representative Stirwell this morning, and they did indicate that something is passed out of committee primarily to get out there in regards to property tax, primarily to get out there to have more in-depth discussions. But the impression I was left with was that it was closer to more recent tax levels and locking them in at that level going forward, that it's more of a, it's not so much retroactive anymore. So I'm not certain that that's the case, but that was the impression I was left with.
Anything else?
No, sir, thank you, though.
Ms. Stark?
No, nothing besides what we've already spoken about. We did get funding to get new desks in our office. And so that has been going on for a couple weeks and it is crazy. So we're just trying to get back to work. It's been a little upheaval.
So it didn't get completed on Friday as it was
It was semi-completed.
semi?
We are able to move our stuff back to our desks, but we won't be completed for another month.
Oh,
There were some logistical issues.
oh, I'm still looking for positive. Ms. Alkier?
They're beautiful desks, though.
Yeah, they're gorgeous desks. Positive, it was a really good weekend, even though it was cold. And we're gonna have a really good month. Thank you very much for working with us on the ARPA, or sorry, the Indigo and the work release. So I'm just glad to be here.
Now, Rhonda?
Let me give you a little
Some
recap.
Legislative report?
So tomorrow is the last day for second reading, and then on the 20th, that will be Thursday, that is the last day for third reading. Then bills switch houses, and they're gonna take a week break that last week of February, which is kind of unusual. They normally take like a few days. They're gonna take an entire week. Senate Bill 1, you're right, Chuck. They're working more on future growth and cutting there instead of like what we already have. So they're limiting the, Senate Bill 1 now limits the MLGQ, which is the maximum levy growth quotient, 0% in 26 growth, 27 1%, and 28 2%. So Normally that's been ranging right around 4% every year. And then you could always do those excess levy appeals if you were a growing community, and those are off the table. So the other thing that's part of that bill now is they set out some new deductions for veterans and over 65, and they're increasing the AV threshold for that from $240,000 to $300,000 for the AV for your home to qualify. And then they have a growth factor formula that will increase that AV over time, so it gradually creeps up. But then there's a first-time home buyer credit that's included. And in talking to the auditors, I'm not sure how you all will implement that. How will you know if someone is a first-time home buyer? How do you just practically implement that credit? There's also provision that says referendums can only be held in general election years. And then there's another bill moving out there about business personal property taxes, and it increases that threshold for exemption from $80,000 to $100,000 of equipment. But the good news is they were gonna remove the 30% floor, and they removed that, so that helped us a lot. There's the road funding bill, which is 1461, and it requires counties and cities and towns to adopt a wheel tax in order to be eligible for community crossings grant money. I think that if you're a town, I think you have to be over 5,000, I think, population for that to apply to you, but I know some cities and towns don't have a wheel tax, and I've been asked questions like, isn't this a double taxation? If you've already got one at the county and then now the city or town has to do one, and the answer is yes. Let's see.
So if the city and towns do one, do we still have to give them a percentage of ours?
That's a good question.
They don't do one now, do they?
Some
Cities
do,
and towns.
in some places.
Plainfield has a
Plainfield
wheel tax.
has-
Yeah, but they get
They
a
have a wheel
percentage
tax,
of
yes.
ours.
Trust me, I'm not very happy about it.
Yeah, Plainfield's went in like 2 years ago, didn't it?
I don't recall.
Yeah, when the wheel tax first became available, I think the cities and towns could do a wheel tax unless the county did one. And I know we had a lot of pushback. I think most of our towns were opposed to a wheel tax, except once we passed it, their hands were out.
They were opposed
wanting their
because they
share.
wanted you guys to take the heat.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
I have a question for Rhonda. Do you know on the wheel tax, if they're gonna force, we have a $25 rate, it can be 50. Are they gonna try to force us to go higher?
That was in the bill at first, that you had to max out, but it's not in there anymore. I should back up one more thing on the Senate Bill 1. There's Senate Bill 6 got amended into Senate Bill 1, and that allows for the county councils to adopt a property tax deferral program where you can defer property taxes up to $10,000 for someone. That again is an administrative.
It's a nightmare, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, let's see, one bill that really bothers me is, there's a bill about residential on-site sewage. It comes from a representative that's a builder, and if you don't comply with letting a builder do their own inspection for residential on-site sewage, they can penalize you by taking your public health dollars away. That's the dollars that you guys worked on.
Yeah.
I just don't like that, because it seems like, why are we taking away immunizations and mental health programs over someone's sewage, like their septic system? That just doesn't quite correlate to me.
What bill was that?
That was 1052.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that part in there. There's a TIF bill moving, which kind of, right now it needs some work, because you lose your flexibility in how to spend excess revenue. They're kind of tying it to certain infrastructure needs, and I know Carmel has raised this issue that it would not allow them to purchase land with that excess revenue that they might have. which then spurs 10 new projects, you know, so there's some work to be done there. We've got some work to do on a bill that deals with executive sessions and it expands the use of executive sessions. I think we're probably going to see more executive sessions happen because of the streaming rules now and televising. We might see more executive sessions happen because of that, but there was some language inserted into 1134 that now sets up a process for someone to petition if there's a problem with the transmission of streaming, that you didn't get it posted on, you know, the recording, and that was never supposed to be, the official record is supposed to be the minutes. We're not supposed to, the streaming is like a courtesy, you know, to make it easier so somebody doesn't have to come here in person. And so tying that to like the official record and saying that someone can undo your action that you took in a meeting because there was a technical problem with getting it streamed, I think is an issue. So I'm trying to work through that right now.
Oh, I'm glad you're working. I hope you can be successful to help us on that.
I did talk to that legislator and he totally got it. He's like, oh yeah, I see your concern, so.
Terrific. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Well, thank you everyone for coming. I think we will adjourn this meeting. We need some more positive, please.
Barry, do you want to walk through, see if any of the other elected officials have anything?
Well, no. Thank you.
Because I know there's a new assistant, I just met her this morning, there's a new assistant HR person.
You want to introduce her?
Yeah, this is Kim Bloomer. She started today. She'll be the HR assistant. She'll also back up my law and some stuff, so, yeah.
Great. Welcome. Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you.